Hello and welcome. It's Bayo here. Thank you for joining me in this video presentation where I'm going to attempt to answer the question, what do I need to do to build credibility fast? Now, credibility is one of those topics, one of those items that many introvert entrepreneurs struggle with. And there's a reason behind it. I don't believe the reason is valid, but hopefully the 3 tips that I'll share with you in this video will help you establish your credibility fast, will help you gain the confidence and understanding that you are indeed an expert who can deliver changes, who can change lives, and who can also help businesses be successful if businesses are the ones that you work with. So without further ado, oh, and by the way, this is also going to reveal to you how to establish that credibility fast without hype and without having to, in quote, fake it until you make it. So let's get straight into it. Now, the first thing I need you to understand is that if, let me just cast your mind, or my mind, let me say, back to the days when I used to be a training consultant for large corporations. One of the things that I used to have to do was to make sure that I covered the fire and safety drill with the people who were in the room, because ultimately they were under my care. So the first thing I need to do was let them explain what needed to happen in the event of an emergency. And one of the things that I used to tag onto that, so the announcement was, well, if there's a fire, it's out that way. And I used to joke that I would be the first person out of the room and the first person to their fire assembly point. But what I used to do was I used to tag on to the end of that, the fact that they also needed to understand and be able to articulate to anyone who asked them the question what exactly we were there to do. So in other words, before you leave this room, if the fire alarm goes off now, if somebody were to stop you at the assembly point and ask you, what was Bayo talking to you about in that session? You should be able to answer very clearly. And so that's what I'm going to do here because it's proven to work. When it comes to credibility, building your credibility fast, and anything to do with credibility, the key takeaway is that it has nothing to do with you. It's never been about us as experts and coaches and consultants, and it's never ever going to be. But because we place the focus, the microscope, we place it on ourselves, we become self-conscious and we believe that we don't have this thing that is indeed credibility. And as you'll see in a minute, credibility has nothing to do with a lot of the things that you believe it has to do with. So just stick with me here. Your fire drill takeaway is that if you were asked, what is the key point about credibility? It has nothing to do with you. It's about those that you serve, whether you serve businesses or you serve individuals. That is the first point. Now, the second point is that you've got to, and I'll go into this in a bit more detail in a moment. The second point is that you've got to be able to provide valuable solutions. So first of all, it's not about you. So take the focus off yourself and focus on your client, getting them from where they are now to where they want to be, from point A to their point B. The second thing is that you've got to be able to provide or ensure that you're providing valuable solutions. What do I mean by this? Well, here's a definition, a working definition of the term valuable that I found online that I'd like to share with you. I share it with my students, those I work with, those who are in the Quiet Experts program, and it helps gain clarity. This is what valuable really means. And within that, here's the definition specifically that I'd like you to take notice of and to use going forward. When you provide value, you're providing something that is extremely useful and is also important. But the question becomes, important to whom? Well, that's a good question. It's important to the person, whether it be a business or an individual. Remember, it doesn't matter whether you're in a B2B situation or a B2C. The value you provide or what you provide in regards to your solution, your services and your products, your coaching, your training, your intellectual property has to be valuable to your dream client or those you provide the value to. And that's very, very important. So it's not about you, and it's about providing value that's extremely useful and important to those who are going to use it. Well, what about credibility? Well, credibility, let me start off by just letting off steam about the concept that you've got to have 10,000 hours before you're an expert or you're a credible expert. That is Malcolm Gladwell's perspective, and many people agree with him, and he's probably right in his world. I don't believe it to be right generally. It's good to have experience under your belt, but let me put this to you, or let me ask you this question. If you've been through a business circumstance or a life circumstance, and you've been through it, and you know how to solve that problem, can you not then show someone else who's about to go through that problem or who's experiencing it how to solve that problem? I put it to you that you can, and you don't need to have to have endured 10,000 hours of solving that problem before you can do that. And so that's where I disagree with Malcolm Gladwell and his followers, that you have to have 10,000 hours under your belt before you're an expert. You don't. If you've maybe salvage your business, if you salvage your relationship, if you've gained weight, gained muscle, or you've been able to lose weight, you can show that to someone else, and you can show it in a very credible manner. So that's just me off of my high horse there, but I just thought it was important to say that. So in terms of credibility, here's what I want you to take away from this definition. Credibility is a quality, and it's a quality of being trusted and believed in. Now, again, my question to you, can you, if you are showing someone something that you really, really believe in, maybe it's something you've even experienced yourself, can you come across as being someone to be believed in and someone to be trusted? I'm sure you can, for the simple reason that you fully believe in what it is you're saying. So that's the thing about credibility you've got to understand. If you're new to business, you're new to providing solutions, services, and products as a quiet expert, you do not need to have years and years and years of experience under your belt. There are many people who've been out there in business as long as I have, which is longer than I can remember, but I did start in business in June of 1995. It's in my notebook here. I always remind myself that that's when I started, and I also remind myself that that's when I failed woefully for the first 3 to 5 years. But even my experience of failing woefully, and I do mean woefully in business in the first 3 to 5 years, allowed me to be credible in helping others avoid those same sort of mistakes in business, and those who are already in those mistakes, making similar mistakes to what I was making, to help them overcome those mistakes. I didn't have, at the time I started, when I started coaching people, I didn't have 10,000 hours. So you don't have to have 10,000 hours. You don't have to have certification. You need to be believable and credible, and you need to be able to be trusted. And you can do that if you believe in what you're doing, if you know that if people take the steps you're asking them to take, they'll get results, then you can be believable, and indeed you should be. Okay, so if we're going to talk about this in general and say, let's wrap this thing up. So buyer, what are you saying? You've told me about these 3 different areas. Well, it's about providing something extremely valuable or important in ways that are convincing and believable. That's what it's all about. And tip number 3, so the first one, again, remember, is it's not about you. It never has been, never will be. It's about those you serve. The second one is that you've got to provide something of valuable in a way that's believable and credible. And we understand what that means now. And the third and final tip is you've got to show people whenever you can what you're talking to them about, rather than just telling them. What we have here is we have the quiet experts method. It's a visual representation that I show people, and what I'm showing you right now is actually coming out of one of the modules. There are 3 parts to the quiet experts method: the pillars, positioning, and presence. If you want to learn more about this, feel free to reach out and schedule a discovery call at quietexperts.com. But for now, just realize that what I'm telling you actually comes from within this positioning module, and it's to do with establishing your credibility. Now, this is just the tip of the iceberg, by the way, but if you want to build your credibility, you should have a visual representation of what your solution is. So what do people need to do to achieve the transformation, to achieve the bigger goal? That's what you need to have. You must have it. And it's something that all of the community members of the Quiet Experts program, that they must produce in order to navigate and progress through the program. Why do you want to do this? Well, anyone can talk. Talk is cheap. But to actually have a visual representation means you thought about it very well. You thought about the things that need to be covered, what people need to know, and they have a roadmap to take them from their point A to their point B. So show, don't just tell. So credibility has nothing, I think I've said that, it's got nothing to do with how long you've been in business. It has nothing to do with how many clients you have or you don't have. And at the end of the day, it has everything to do with being believable as you deliver value to others. And we've spoken about all these concepts. Now, if you need to refresh your memory, just go back and cover them again. But more importantly, look at what you are doing right now and ask yourself, the things that I do right now, do they meet the criteria that buyer has just shared with me? You'll probably see that they do up to a point, but there's still room for improvement. So let me leave you with this in a nutshell. You establish credibility fast as an introvert entrepreneur online by being believable as you provide valuable solutions that show what you mean instead of just telling. Well, I hope you found this useful, and I do sincerely hope that you'll use it in your business. Feel free to share your feedback, any feedback you have, how this has helped you, any insights, or as they say, any aha moments it's created for you. And if you want to learn how to use this in your business, or use the Quiet Experts method, which is a method that I specifically created for introvert entrepreneurs online, those who are highly introverted, that shows you how to attract better quality prospects, shows you how to generate 2 to 5 times more leads each month, that shows you how to enroll dream clients without all the unnecessary shenanigans of pressure selling, fake scarcity, and those other things, and how to do this within 90 days, then schedule your discovery call now at quietexperts.com. So just head over to quietexperts.com and schedule your 10-minute discovery call. And in those 10 minutes, we'll use to sort of look at what you're doing and determine if there's anything that we can do together. And if I can't, I'll certainly help let you know. But this is specifically for introvert entrepreneurs, especially people who are highly introverted, because that's where I come from, and I'm an INFJ, I say proudly myself as well. So that's where my focus is. Thanks again, and I'll talk to you again next time.